Wet and windy again here today at 13 degrees on an August bank holiday Sunday. I'm just going to let you listen to this. I found it, I can't remember where I found it now. I found it on Twitter. I can't remember the guy's page. I didn't really want to share his introduction to it, so I put it up myself. I've pinned it to the top of my page and I've put it on Yvette Cooper and Keir Starmer's threads at various points with the word learn. This is 7 years ago. This is the United Arab Emirates Foreign Secretary at a conference. He says something really poignant that I think our politicians should listen to, and especially our commentators. And the reason I say this is last night it kind of all kicked off because there's been another incident in Germany, and the European press seemed to release the suspicions fairly early on, but the British press and the media, especially Sky News, seemed to cushion what we know is blindingly obvious. And they had a debate on, it was the paper show last night, I think, with that bloody woman, I can't remember what she's called, Ali Babi Brown or something. She's always moaning. And the reporter came in for some stick from Dan Wootton, who pointed out the obvious, that instead of looking at the primary problem, which we all face, they're looking at the reaction to the problem by mentioning the far right, by making out that that's the problem. But that's a reaction to the problem. You've only got to look round the streets and the city centres of our towns and cities across the country with huge concrete bollards that are about 3 feet deep and kind of cigar shaped. They didn't put those there to stop the far right, did they? But this foreign minister, obviously he's an Arab, he gets it. He says what most people in the West would want our own leaders to recognise and take on board. I particularly like the beginning. Sorry about that. I particularly like the beginning where he puts the American reporter in a place because she says she's got translation. And he says, but I want you to get this right. So he speaks in English. It's only 4 or 5 seconds.
And let me say this in English so you can understand what I'm saying.
I have translation.
No, I know you have translation, but I just want to make sure you get it right. There will come a day that we will see far more radical extremists and terrorists coming out of Europe because of lack of decision making, trying to be politically correct, or assuming that they know the Middle East and they know Islam and they know the others far better than we do. And I'm sorry, but that's pure ignorance.
I mean, that is just about sums it up for me, because it is pure ignorance. Because unfortunately, no matter how much we try to enlighten them, there's only 2 reasons for this. They're deliberately ignoring it, or they just haven't got the message yet. Sadly, a lot of people think it's number 1, because how else can this fiat currency that's just paper money, that's in the middle of collapse, how else can they introduce something as austere as a digital ID followed up by a central bank digital currency? They have to come to our defence. It's a fake defence because it's just really allowing us to unravel and get into civil unrest so that they can come up with the solution. So they create the problem and they come up with the solution. That's what a lot of people actually think. I'm not too sure. I mean, I don't really want to think that, because that means that's a dire state of affairs. And of course it's all right saying that that's the end plan, but that might be their plan. But when you're making plans, you haven't come up against your resistance at that point, have you? You haven't seen how far people themselves are prepared to take it to resist that end game. Lots of people don't get what's going on. I've quite a few friends who don't get it, and more friends who just don't want to know about it. They just want to get on with their life. Well, that's okay, you doing that, but you need balance. You need to get on with your life and enjoy it, but understand the ramifications of we are now experiencing the most anti-democratic government in the last 100 years, certainly in our lifetime. This is the most anti-democratic. But unfortunately the Tories paved the way for it, didn't they? Because they also became undemocratic, because people were put into power jobs that nobody really wanted, like Jeremy Hunt. And unfortunately, the people left in the Tory party were not Conservatives. They were a spillage from when the coalition was on with the Lib Dems, the more Liberals. And ironically, they seem to not be able to see what they're doing. And, this man is an intelligent man who's probably been educated in the West, in probably Harvard or somewhere, or maybe even Oxford. He's fluent in English. He speaks about 3 other languages. He's the United Arab Emirates Foreign Minister. He knows what he's talking about. He's an Arab. So why aren't we listening to? We can take their oil from them, but we can't take their advice. When he said that 7 years ago, and how things have unravelled since. So then there was this, after the fact, when Sky put this up, Dan Wootton shared it, so it's had an awful lot of traction. Alison Pearson from the Telegraph came on and said it was obvious who it was. Bild, the German newspaper, referred to it. ISIS claimed responsibility for it, and still the British media didn't acknowledge the actual threat is from that section, not from what they call the far right. Because if you're worried about a reaction, you can't have a reaction until you've had something to react to. So why are the British media ignoring what's causing the reaction? Why are the politicians ignoring what's causing the reaction? Until you address that, you will always have the problem of the reaction, because you're not addressing the primary problem. And that's our politicians, that sums them all up. Because unfortunately, they'll do all this. We can see what's happening across the West. You've got to remember, the country was in uproar only, 3 weeks ago, is it? 3? Since the Southport incident? How many have happened since then? And that was on the back of the soldier getting stabbed. And we're not supposed to react to this. We're not supposed to do anything. They've now arrested in France the founder of the uncensored social media channel Telegram. I'm not on Telegram. I've never been on Telegram. But apparently it's not censored. I'm not sure what benefit there is to that. Well, I'm sure what the benefit is. But unfortunately, when people get arrested for saying unsuitable things, highly unsuitable things I would never say, and get sent to jail without bail, that does not seem rational. It doesn't seem in proportion when paedophiles are avoiding jail time, literally walking away from custodial sentences because the jails are supposedly full. So how is that supposed to make sense to the average individual? A woman has said some highly unsuitable things, horrid things, foul, vile. I'll give it all the expletives you want. She shouldn't have said them. They were said in the heat of the moment. She's got kids. She's a childminder. She's no political affiliation. Her husband's a Tory councillor, but she's not part of a movement or anything. But she said some stuff on her account that was out of order, properly out of order. But this woman has been taken away, a young mother, who now, whatever job she has, that's gone. The income from that has gone. And I'm being told by some people that these, we'll call them political prisoners for want of a better description, the people involved in the disturbances, I'm watching my vocabulary here, are also being sent on remand to places quite far away from where they live, which makes visiting awkward and expensive, which means it won't happen as often. Now, for someone like me, and I'm presuming this woman is similar but younger, who's never been in trouble with the police, perhaps a traffic fine or something, then that punishment, the process is the punishment. And she is now sitting in a jail somewhere with criminals. How terrified must she be? She hasn't caused any violence. She's made a completely unacceptable statement she should have thought twice about, and she took it down. But the thread, this is why I'm very careful about what I put, because it's not always what you put. It was in this case. But it can be the reaction from people who, the most annoying thing for someone like me who has a reasonably large following is to see you try to word something that'll get past algorithms and not offend anyone and not get you investigated. You try your best to discuss a topic, and then some bloody idiot on the thread comes out with all the vile expletives about, I can't even begin to say what they say, and so you have to police your own thread going, oh, you can't have that, and then you get told off, oh, you don't allow free speech. Yes, I do allow free speech. Do it on your own page, especially with Facebook, because what really is annoying to someone like me is that you go on their page and it's all pictures of the grandkids and people picking flowers and what a lovely meal they had at the pub that weekend and how much he loves his grandchildren, how much he loves his wife. Oh, and be kind bodies. Oh, that's all on your page. And you put all your vile comments on my thread because I've had the courage to set my post to public and try and enlighten people. I've got a clue what's going on. No. That's not me stifling free speech. That's me avoiding idiots. But nevertheless, there's a woman sitting somewhere and I think about her every day, and I'm not making excuses for what she did. I'm comparing the reaction of the police and the Crown Prosecution Service and the fact that she's now sitting in jail for 1 calendar month until she comes back to make a plea. She hasn't even made a plea yet, and she's been denied bail. Normally you would be denied bail if you were an art thief and there was a good chance you had a private jet and you were going to abscond from the country, surely. Surely, you know, and the same week a paedophile avoids jail time. A paedophile who's raped kids. How can that make sense to the ordinary people? How can we accept this sort of, what looks to the public as a government that's using the judiciary and the police for its own ends? Right, this week I want you to come down on these people because they've particularly annoyed me. And let some of these out because they're just normal criminals that have affected some people. You know, some kids got raped, somebody's kids got raped, somebody's kids got molested by this person that's walking free, but it's not politicians. So don't come down too heavy on them. And unfortunately, the man who's running the country has a stinking track record for being on the side of the bad people. Everybody knows what the law is. They're entitled to their best defence. But when someone who's got a track record for defending people who have done abhorrent things, you've got to remember, he hasn't been finding them all innocent. These were, in many cases, guilty people. Then you've got to look at what sort of hands your country is in. And this might be a bit serious for me, but I'm just thinking out loud, you know, the furor of what's gone on in Germany and the way the Bild, which is the national paper in Germany, and I've got friends in Austria, I've spoken to them, and the way it's been portrayed. My friend in Austria told me straight away it was a terror attack, straight away the background of the people, in a phone call, because they already knew from Austrian TV. So why is Great Britain going to these lengths to make sure, don't let them know that? Because that doesn't solve the problem, it escalates it. It builds up the frustration. And that's a really bad way to govern anyone. He's supposed to govern as not rulers. I mean, there's all these memes going around of him dressed up in, people are doing memes where he's got like dictators' uniforms on from North Korea and South America and Stalin. He deserves these memes because this man is not listening to the people. Now that said, I think it's abhorrent that 3 little kids died, lost their lives, families were affected, loved ones will never have a normal life again. And the aftermath of that was rioting. That's unforgivable. You know, that library looked like a bomb had hit it, literally. You can't condone that. But some of them were just yobbos and thugs. They were nothing to do with defending or standing up for rights. They were just idiots. And now we're all going to be treated really harshly because of a few idiots. I wouldn't like to be a policeman today, going to work, and you go into work and your shift operator, whatever he says, oh, you've got to go and police this protest today. I'd hate it, because I just think, well, the reputation they've got is sinking because of the political aspect of who's controlling them. It's not the coppers, it's the politicising of the police. You know, that, is it Royal College of Policing, a College of Policing? What the hell are they turning out? You can't get anyone to come to a burglary, 6 people turn up for a tweet. Remember Lawrence Fox when he went round and he and Harry Miller, Fair Cop, he blogs as Fair Cop on Twitter, that they actually got to the bloke's house before the police did and avoided him being arrested because Harry knew the law. How many people are in this position because they don't understand the law? And it's bound to look to ordinary people like the law and the Crown Prosecution Service is being used in a politicised manner. And I am curious to understand why foreign news channels in Austria and Germany and foreign publications can report what they see as soon as possible. If someone's on the run, the most important thing about that is the description. The description, because social media is so fast, we can find things quickly. If I'd lost a dog, the first thing I'd do, photograph up and a full description, because I think that would help me find my dog quicker. I think that's common sense. That's not attacking people, that's not singling people out, that's just common sense. And we're lacking it in our government organisations. So for me, Dan Wootton's stance on the way he had a go at the Sky presenter was completely justified, because I had to switch it off. I put it on just flicking through, to see what was on. And it was the papers with Yasmin something Brown, that damn woman. Her and someone else. And they're all talking the same language, all about the reaction rather than the problem. And it's just sickening, and it's why I gave up Sky, as in a subscription service. I can catch it on normal telly, but I seldom use it. I don't use it at all, actually, but it's good to have a look around to see exactly what they're saying, not because they're any good at it. In fact, I did a survey the other day online for the BBC. I don't know if anybody else has had it. I gave them abysmal marks. It was a survey company, obviously she's got nothing to do with the BBC, and I gave them abysmal marks, absolutely abysmal. And anyway, I got talking to her a bit, they're a bit cagey, aren't they? And I said, oh, how long have you been doing this? So she's a casual worker, she does this. Anyway, she was nice enough. And I said, I bet you've had a lot of reactions like this, haven't you? And she went quiet. She didn't say she had, but she didn't deny it. Yeah, sadly, that's our media. And, when I go about direct democracy, where we get saying the big stuff, that can only work with an honest media. We haven't got an honest media, plain to see. And I don't know how they sleep at night. I really don't. And social media, I've just got a warning. I'm on a ban at the moment on Facebook for a post that someone else put. Not me. I ran a group called Laugh at Life. Someone else put it in Laugh at Life. It's a couple of kids giggling, peeping through a washing line of a load of knickers hung up. It's a Blackpool postcard. You could buy on Blackpool front, stuck in a stand, with your mum and dad stood there. And Facebook took it down. It was posted in 2014. It was deemed against community standards. So I forgot I was blocked, and I was going on to put that video up of that Arab Foreign Minister. And it said, your page and messages have been blocked because you post something unsuitable. It actually gave the blame to me. And the reason I'm telling you this, because it's never blocked me from messages before. I've usually been able to get to my friends and say, look, I'm blocked on Facebook, I can't comment, I can't share, I can't post, but I can still talk to you in Messenger. Oh no, I'm blocked on Messenger as well now for a 10-year-old post. The reason I'm saying this has got nothing to do with Facebook. You need to listen to what I'm saying. The reason I'm telling you this is that leaves me, who I know I don't post anything foul, and certainly not sexual exploitation of kids, which was the reason that they gave me for a Blackpool postcard. The reason I'm saying this this way they treat people on Facebook, where you can appeal, but this is the appeal. Do you agree with this decision? So you put no. That's it. You just put no. Then after that, they give you your block, how long you block for. And sometimes I've put no, I don't agree with it. And they've added another week on because I didn't agree with them. So you've got absolutely no recourse to put your story across. You know, okay, Facebook's American. It's all controlled by algorithms. The algorithms misunderstood the postcard, the fact that we have them in Great Britain and they're for sale quite easily. So that should have been that mitigates my position, and I didn't post it. And the group's archived, so nobody can go in it anyway, because it's archived since 2019. So it's absolutely no threat to anyone. Nevertheless, I've still endured the punishment for a crime I didn't commit. So that's what it's going to be like for your general life, for everything, for paying your bills, for getting your income. That's where it's heading, a central bank digital currency. That's the type of life we're all going to live if we don't start pushing back now. And the way to push back is to inform other people in a polite way and get them to see that we're going down the tubes here. So the reason I'm saying all this now is now we still have an opportunity to push back. We've got 5 people in Parliament who think like us. We've got other people in Parliament who think like us. Most of the Tories that are in there think like us, because the ones that don't, many of them didn't get the seats back. So you've got Suella Braverman and Priti Patel and other people. So there's more than just the famous 5. But can you see what I'm saying about the Facebook thing? Forget it's Facebook, that's just social media. I can deal with that, live with that. That's what everything you deal with is going to end up like. You're going to have no recourse. If they've took money out your bank account and it's a mistake, you're not going to have anyone to talk to. It's going to be a bot, a robot. They're giving tickets out, traffic tickets out in Dubai from a robot that can see in your car, because it's AI, can see if you've got your seatbelt on. You should have your seatbelt on. Can see if you're using your phone. They're now doing it with a robot. Again, as I say, it's this dehumanisation of what we need. We need to be able to talk to people. The guy's been done for being on his phone. He's on hands-free. What difference does it make whether you're on your phone or you listen to your radio? So I put all this information out because I want to know I tried. I want to know I tried. Whatever day I get taken down, or even if I don't. You know, David said the other day, you know what, we've got a friend who's like off on holiday again, and pictures of her on the beach and pina coladas and all the rest of it. And I know Dave's looking at that thinking, bloody hell, that could be us, because we've got the wherewithal to do it. And I can go on holiday if I want, but I've got to think of my dogs, and I won't just leave them with anybody, neither will he. But I know he's a bit envious of what looks like a normal life, because he's bloody got me, hasn't he? And I said, yeah, but I can't do it any other way. I can't know what I know. I can't have associates like Mitch Fierstein, who wrote Planet Ponzi, who foretold all this. And as he said, he feels it's going to come to the state where people like Starmer are going to make it so expensive to live, people won't be able to live properly, and they'll probably do something like a general strike. Then they'll listen. Because once we're not working and running all the things that they need, what are they going to do about it? But I've got all these contacts, and Alex Story, the rower, and Dan Wootton, and Bev Turner, and Lilani Dowding, and James Melville, and other really good people, sports personalities, people that come on the telly that don't want their name putting about, that talk about what's going on and see it for what it is. We aren't alone in this. You haven't to think that, just because they may be censored to a degree because of their employment, doesn't mean they don't understand what's going on. So there's a big posse of people out there, and I'm proud to be part of it. That's why I did that video for Alan Miller for Together, because Together is a very organised outfit. And if you're following them and listen to what they say, they're not going to get you into trouble because they're sensible. You know, if you're going to go around with a hoodie on and a face mask, and you're not sending out the right image, are you? Come on, you're not. Be sensible. And if you can be sensible, you have a better chance of being listened to. Anyway, it's my sermon for today from the Right Reverend Jude Slater. That doesn't mean to say you have to put this podcast down and go and be depressed. What you've got to look at is there's an Arab foreign minister there that sees it for what it is. That means that most of the Arab world will see it for what it is. They'll just see our leaders. They won't have respect for him. They'll just see him as bloody bonkers.